Okay, okay. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm very good, Ricardo. It's big day for us,
Yeah,
celebrating 1 year ago.
big day, a big day. It's wonderful to see you all. It's wonderful to have this informal chat with the colleagues from all over the world, and it's nice to kick off the year. And I want just to this will be a super informal talk, okay? So what was our idea, Antonio and I? We are preparing now and getting ready to the fourth edition of our masterclass, AI-driven project management revolution that will happen on 26. And as always, what we do a little bit before, it's we try just to set the stage and trying to talk about the context of the next masterclass. But this time we decided to say, why not revisit the article we did 1 year ago and see, okay, what are the trends, what what is happening, and how we move forward. Antonio, do you want to welcome them?
Yeah, well, welcome everyone. Thank you. I know it's hard to find time for webinars, so we're always very pleased to see so many people joining. I think, Ricardo, we had almost 700 people
Yeah,
registering, and we launched it just on Monday, I think. So this is
yeah.
agile. This is the speed that things are changing. And I think the idea, of course, is we've seen a lot of things happening in a year. So and it's not just us sharing what we want to do in the call today. Is what have you seen? What have you seen in the last year in your space around AI? What questions do you have? Which trends are you seeing? So it's like a community that we have here, and I'm just very excited to have this discussion now, Ricardo.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Look, if you have any question, please use the Q&A to send it. So just press Q&A and write, because we'll try to answer as much. We cannot, with this amount of people, we cannot just unmute all of you. So otherwise it will be a mess, okay? But what is the idea today? Okay. About 1 year and a couple of months ago, we all were surprised when the ChatGPT became public. And then, a lot of excitement. Last year was the year of AI. We started Davos last year with people talking about what was happening. This year, the World Economic Forum was all about AI. Executives lining up to hear Sam Altman, in a packed room. He became a celebrity, and people did not even know who he was 1 year ago. So we see a company coming from 0 to 90 billion, then almost collapsing in November. So what is going on? So this is exactly what we want, and what this matter for project management in terms. So I told Antonio that I will start talking about my perceptions, and then I will move to Antonio. Antonio will share his, and then we will open for Q&As, and we'll discuss a little bit more. But I want to share with you three things for you to keep in mind about what is happening in this past year. What we saw when ChatGPT came out, there was almost an avalanche of apps, solutions. Everybody creating, something that transcribe your text on WhatsApp, your voice to a text on WhatsApp, something that improves your calendar, something that improves the way you do photo and video, something that will help you to prepare meeting notes of your project. And what is we started to see mid last year to late last year? It's my first point. It's what I'm calling super apps, and I'm calling super platforms. Most of the people thought in the early last year that ChatGPT or Gemini, they were something like too generic and with answers that were pretty much pasteurized, means a generic answer on pretty much everything. But what happened? June, July, August, these tools started to become really good, really, really good. And they started to, in some ways, dominate the marketplace. So what I see now, for example, when we go to that paper and we talk about speeding up automation of projects, helping you to generate templates. So what we see today, we see that there are tools being developed that integrate most of this inside out. And most of them are these ultra huge tools. For example, today, if you use Microsoft Copilot, you don't even know that you are using AI. For example, I have here tools to help me with my English and write in English. That corrects, I don't even remember I am using a generative AI tool. I'm just doing right click and having a suggestion. So this is what is happening now. So what we saw, for example, several, and this was a big opportunity in terms of leveraging and I would say given access, but also a massive challenge. Because, for example, those who develop, for example, I remember that I was fascinated when I saw tools that could read PDFs and you would ask questions about it. This was almost amazing. Then in October, I was at the PMI conference and I said, maybe ChatGPT will release that soon. And the next day it was released by OpenAI. So now what happens? OpenAI released Dolly, that is an excellent a video generator, text to text, brilliant. And now with Sora being released, that look, please take a look at Sora. And these will be, for example, and you may ask me, okay, I am a PMO. What does this relate to me? If you are a PMO, you are the home of the method. You are the home on how your organization manage projects. And you need to train your employees. You need to make them able to do their job. If you have a platform like this one, and you can use a text and say, please create a video explaining in our company what a project charter is or what a sprint is. It's just dramatic. I haven't used it yet because it's not available, but these are the trends. So the first thing, so these super apps, and super apps means they are consolidating everything. I do know, look, Antonio does not have, I do not have a crystal ball to say what will happen. Okay, we are like all of you in the audience. We are, opening the box and see what is inside and preparing ourselves to the change. But what I can see is that these big players are becoming very big. And when, for example, I can tell from my own reality, on PMOTO, we developed the PMOTO, and our initial plan was to release a public PMOTO where people would access normally, and potentially we would sell a subscription. This was the idea early February. But we had to learn that things are evolving so fast. And when we saw the movement of OpenAI to allow people to create custom GPTs, and we got the support of Microsoft to do that, it was much better for us to do that, because of course you cannot compete with a large language model like this gigantic organization. So this is the volatility we are seeing today. So now, for example, PMOTO is dedicated to companies, and all the open, I would say, for the end user, it's public on OpenAI. And when OpenAI opened that store, it changed it completely, because there is a potential that that store can become an app store for anything. I saw so many use of these custom GPTs, but all of them, they are tiny applications under the umbrella of a gigantic super app. The second thing is all about regulation. So what I can see now is that there is an increased desire and push for regulation on AI. Because, the same fascinated thing on, AI too, for you to create a video from an idea, to create a harmful video on an idea. So there is an increased need. So most of the time today that I'm working with clients talking on AI, on projects, they are paranoid about where my data is going to. Am I releasing data that others will benefit? How I will manage the copyright, because this is a large portion of my value. Antonio has the case of Rita McGrath and others questioning, saying, where is my copyright if everything is now on OpenAI and this? So what we see, it's an increased push because, for example, you have a contractor in your project, and then the contractor shows a photo of the product he or she is developing for you. And then what happens? Suddenly, that photo is not real. That photo was generated. And some of them are becoming very true. So how you will rely, for example, on projects delivered by virtual teams and this. So this is something that is increasing dramatically. And third one that I want to share is from IoT to AIoT. IoT stands for Internet of Things, that you put internet into things. Now, what I want to tell you, it's AIoT, artificial intelligence of things. It means that there is a high probability that your work as a project manager would be to manage these AIoTs. It means, for example, if you want to check safety of your work environment, for example, if you're doing an infrastructure project, you don't need to have, a security or doing that. You can use this AIoT. It can be a camera with AI. It can be a robot with AI. It can be Apple Vision Pro to do that. And these will be, I believe, a super trend that will combine, for example, the tools we use to manage projects to this environment of AI. Like, for example, when we are doing a Zoom, the Zoom prepares the summary for you. For example, I'm using a tool on WhatsApp now that transcribe the text for me. And if the text someone sent to me, because, the audio that someone sends to me, it's too long, I ask to summarize, and then it writes for me. Because, for example, I'm not a big fan of audio messages, so I never listen to them. Usually what I do is I just put them to be translated. So this is what I'm talking, this AI of things that will help you in your daily work. And this drives me to my final message. What's the name of the tool, Chiara? The name of the tool is Luzia, Luzia. Okay, it's a WhatsApp contact. Okay, if I find when Antonio is speaking, I will share with you on the chat. Okay, but now let me just move a little bit. Okay, 1 year. What is in my mind now? First, the work of PM and the work of project manager and the PMO. We all said that last year you will not be preparing reports. So, and then a lot of people said, okay, what will be our role? And what I see today, I see us as the driving force to implement these kind of technologies into our projects. Why not us managing these AIoTs that will help us to deliver better projects? Or, for example, to tailor an artificial intelligence engine that will help us to analyze data. This is just an idea for you. This is the new role. And this drives me to my second point on this impact is our profession will be affected. You know, I feel sad when I listen to people saying nothing will happen, project management will continue as powerful. Yes, but the new project management, not this project management of today. You know, so people will be affected. For some of you that could be able to leverage this and leverage this knowledge, it can be something massive. For others that truly believe that it will continue the same way, I see a big challenge. So we need to be able to adapt. This is why I love on the PMBOK 7, one of the principles, adaptability. We need just to learn how to navigate with this kind of tools. The first time I used, for example, this kind of metaverse glasses, it's just incredible when you see and when you start to interact with AI. For example, OpenAI is now starting to merge robots with a GPT. And this could be a whole, because you can have a machine that can take decisions based on generative AI, and not generative AI informing people to do that. Not last week, it was yesterday, I saw the magazine Science published an article where GPT compared with 150 students of top universities on creative thinking, and GPT won by far in almost all the tasks. Let me give you an example. They said, what other uses can you do with a fork that is not to eat? And then GPT released it a lot, and people did their brainstorming, but it was less. So what we see an evolving scenario of that we need to be able to implement that. And my final thought here, and most of the messages I receive, people are talking, okay, which are the tools? And for example, Lucia, as I said, the WhatsApp tool. People think that it's all about tools. For example, in our masterclass, Antonio, what we try like crazy, it's to make sure that people look a little bit higher. Because if you look on this tool, because Lucia is here today, maybe tomorrow, Lucia does not exist anymore. It's just WhatsApp now. And we need to look above and beyond. Most of the time, I said this, and when I talk about this, I showed a photo of the tsunami. It's like we are looking for the shells on the ocean, and there is a tsunami coming back. So we need to understand in the bigger picture how transformative AI will be for our profession, for our projects, and this. So this is what I see. I see that we just uncover a big box with a lot of amazing things inside, but a lot of challenges too, that we need to be prepared to understand and adapt. Antonio, do you have something to add to that?
Thank you, Ricardo. Extremely. I always love to hear as well what you say, because we don't have time to discuss enough. And it's really great to see the latest developments that you see when you talk to your clients. And yeah, I think this is going to another level. I have also prepared a couple of topics to just briefly talk, and then we just have some time for Q&A. So let me just get this out here quickly. let me see if I can get the slides up. I can share. Perfect. So I put just three areas as well that I've seen some progress, some of them more and others. So I think this is less than tools, but it make me think. So these are things that make me think. Say, I saw that there's going to be now a shop in New York, in Brooklyn, where there's no people. It's just robots serving. So imagine you need to do a project in this shop. Um, how do you do it? How do you work with robots? How do you imagine you need to expand it, or you need to introduce, I don't know, new products, new services, and it just talking to robots? It just, to me, I was just thinking, what the hell? Yeah, so we need people to interact in projects, and suddenly in 5, 10 years, we need to have that robots, AI as another key stakeholder, and maybe a team member. And so, yeah, how we struggle. I think most of the projects we do is not even a team. It's just group of people. I always, when I teach or I do workshops, say most of the projects people run are group of people. They're not team. And you need to make a team. It takes effort. So how do you make a team? And if you can high performing with a robot and so I just don't know. But I think this is where I see that there's going to be something, right? And Ricardo and I, we need to think about as well, how can we look at this in our masterclass, right? So these are the trends that we want to set. Another one is this one, I guess you all read that. This is maybe 2, 3 weeks ago. I think it's the guy from Otter. Otter is the AI tool. No, it's AI. Before it was not, who just translates, captures a meeting, makes notes. Now you use in Zoom, I think it's included. And the guy was saying, imagine very soon you just send your avatar. So imagine Ricardo goes to a meeting, but he's not Ricardo, he's avatar. So imagine you will be running project meetings without people, just avatars. So how does it going to work? And imagine you could have yourself 10 times, 10 times. You could be doing 10 times more. And then, so how is this going to work on the projects, right? So I don't know. I'm just don't know. This is what keeps me awake sometimes, is what's the future of project management going to look at like this when we have no people in the meetings and it's just AI and bots and they're all taking notes, they're talking like you, they're thinking like you, they're taking decision like you. I think there will be some thresholds where they will need to actually talk to you. So I think that's just, for me, fascinating. How is this going to work? Another of these big disruption is Neuralink from Musk. I just don't know. I don't know also, Ricardo, but this is going to have a major impact on work, on businesses, and obviously some projects. So how is this going to work? This is another, sorry if I cannot bring you solutions. I'm just bringing you questions today, but this is when we look at the future, when we look at the next 10 years, we obviously need to look at this and how it's going to be addressed in projects, in project management. And the last one, I think we have not talked enough. It's all the focus on AI, but metaverse is moving as well. So what will happen when these things merge? I, I don't know as well. I think, I love, you talk about Sarai, and when I saw the video, I said, this is amazing. Imagine you can ask ChatGPT to create a video of your project, to run your project in a video before you start it. And it's just so powerful, right? It's just amazing. I would love, and I can't wait to see that's open for everyone, because I think it's just open for a few, but I could see that using in every picture, in every project, in every business case. When you're looking at 10 projects, show me the video of that one, that one, that one, that one. It will help a lot to take decisions and to align people around initiatives. Bring that to the metaverse, and maybe you can be running a project in the metaverse before you run it in the real life to learn, right? One of the most important success factors in every project is learning. Yeah, we saw that with the book of Ben Fledbrig, the Danish guy, who has looked at thousands of projects, mostly on construction, but
Guggenheim museums, and he said the most important is to learn quickly so that you do it in phases and you get better and better and better. Imagine you can run projects in the metaverse with the help of AI, and then you just get something for the real world that will accelerate, and you can do projects in 10% of the time. So this is just incredible. So these are, for me, the big trends. These are the things that I'm reading, I'm following, and say, how does this translate in projects? How will we look like in a project in 10 years? A big transformation, a big M&A, a big expansion product. And it's just insane. It's insane. I don't know. So this is the type of things we will discuss in the masterclass in a couple of weeks, because this is, I think, where we need to be. Ricardo mentioned, I think we are leading this space. We have to lead this space, not the programming, not the technology, but the adoption of the technology and how to implement it on a day-to-day basis on projects. So these are the 4 big things that kept me at night. The other quick 2 ones, and then we can open up. And Ricardo, please feel to jump in here as well. But 2 other things that are more concrete, these are things that we're working on as we speak. The predictor, I think what's going to be the consequence of this on the methodologies? And this is something that, we're moving towards some kind of, it's not more any agile and waterfall. I think we're moving into hybrid methods. But how do the hybrid methods look like, right? I think I'm doing some research there, and 80% of the project managers today, they use hybrid, but nobody knows what hybrid means. Yeah, we just mix in tools. So I think that's going to be a huge evolution. And add to that AI and what we're talking, it's just, again, very disruptive. And how far do you go in the methods? Do you incorporate change management? Do you add product development? Where does it stop? How far will be your scope? And I think that's an important call for actions, because if we don't move fast enough in this space, somebody else will take the methodologies. Maybe AI will take the methodology. So it's a concern for me. And Ricardo, I know you talk about this as well. So this is something that maybe is not directly talking about AI, but it has huge consequences on how we do projects, how we execute, and increasing the success rate, and also adopting AI. So there's a small survey currently ongoing, so you can fill it in here if you're interested to get the white paper. But it's the implications of what we're talking into the day-to-day practice, ways of working. And the last piece is also on something that is ongoing, and we talk about this in the masterclass, and participants could use it, but we have this AI machine learning algorithm that has been developed with a professor from Canada who has been taught by hundreds of projects, and it's been used. Today, it's been tested by a big corporate in the US and another big business school in Switzerland. To imagine, we can predict now project success. So this is individual assessments that coming out from the tool. So these are 2 different projects. You see the one on the left has much more chances to succeed than the one in the middle, the second one. And this is before starting. You can do it on ongoing projects. So this is something that is built with machine learning algorithms. It's been trained, and it's getting better and better. So I think there's no doubt that the project in red, you should not do or should stop immediately. You don't need to spend more time on that. It's just wasting time. And the other one is just an example of, this is the outcome of the company that we're looking at 20 projects. And you could see that there's already 7, the bottom one, that some of them are running. You better stop them because you're going to waste money. And there's one big one, they're more than $500 million. So there's no way that you need to start this project. So I think this is more the application of some of these early technologies, machine learning, that are being implemented right now. And imagine you have a portfolio of 1 billion euros or dollars in your company. The predictor will help you to reduce 50% your failure rate. So you will be saving 300 million. This is real money. This is not fake money. This is real there. We can use these tools to help companies to massively improve the success rate and reduce the failure rate. So using these tools will become more common when we do portfolio review, prioritization, project review. Imagine you run that with 1,000 projects that some companies have, and you can cut so many waste and save so much money and do the projects better. So that's the second area. The hybrid, the methods is something that we will be talking in the masterclass connected to do. And then this type of hands-on tools that people can experiment with. And actually, these are companies already using it. And the last piece, just a reminder here, Ricardo, maybe we can put the link somewhere, but we have the fourth work masterclass. And there is a discount code. Maybe you can share that.
Yeah, I can do it now. It's 1 year later. Altogether, caps lock. 1 year later. And we are doing, but we are doing just for the people attending and watching this. We'll not promote this on the website or email, just to give the value for those who are here with us today. So I will show you again here, but 1 year later, and this is up to this Sunday. Okay, so it's just for those who are here and are insecure yet about attending or not. And this is another question we receive all the time. It's all the same. So cohort 1 is the same of 2, 3, and 4. The answer is absolutely not. Okay, absolutely. Every session is a different one. We have the framework that is the same, but the content, the examples, the talk, and everything. For example, on the first cohort, we barely touch on predictor. In the third one, Antonio released the access to it. So it's a moving initiative, and this is what we really aim with the masterclass. Antonio, I think we can go now to some of the questions, if you are fine with that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I will start taking some. Lavanya, will be a recording? Yes, it will be. It will be live on LinkedIn. We open LinkedIn, YouTube, and this, so you can watch it later. Okay. The information about AI is overwhelming. How to control what you are hit with? I'm having headaches trying to take in everything that I come across in reference to AI. Yes, even for you to analyze that, you need to have a prioritization. This happens to Antonio, it happens to me. I receive hundreds of informations on AI every single day. And I need to have a very strong screening process. For example, I take everything, I do a very narrow a process that I can come from 100 to 10. This is a matter of minutes. For example, many times when people show me something in 30 seconds, I am, I would say, ready to say it's something that I should look a little bit more, or it's not enough. And then I go deeper. And at the end, I evaluate 1, 2, 3 different tools. And it's every single day like that. This is why, for example, I start seeing this concept of the super apps. For example, this is my personal view, that I believe that ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot will basically dominate, okay? Unless something very different happens in the upcoming months that changes that in terms of regulation or whatever, because they are already very strong. And on AI, it's exactly what Antonio said on predictor. If you have more projects, you learn more, you become more efficient, then more people use. So, and it's very hard for new entrants to get into that. Okay, Antonio, now you can take.
I take the next one, okay. Misha, on the PMO. PMO is meant to be the owner of knowledge base for PMs, right? Using AI to then pick the knowledge and advice and then be assistant. Yeah, absolutely, Misha. And I think that's one of that was the core of PMO Auto that Ricardo developed years ago, is helping PMs with a virtual assistant and sharing all the knowledge. So I definitely see that this is the way forward. And today you can use PM Auto in the GPT space for sure. And then you can also chat GPT will give you quite a lot of knowledge. So I think knowledge is being spread faster than before. And this is something that the PMO should leverage much more, and project managers too. So Misha, yes, absolutely. Hey, Sylvie, you're there? I didn't know you were there. Do you mind just coming up 1 second, and if you can talk?
Let me. I can bring her. I can bring
Because
her.
Sylvie has been, she was in our first masterclass, and she has been one of the strongest advocates. So I didn't know you were going to join, but if you can.
It's here.
And
I'm
share,
allowing Sylvie you to talk, Sylvie.
if you can
You
share.
just need to unmute. How are you?
Good to
Good
see
morning.
you. This is
How
some
are you?
completely
How are you?
We are.
excited.
I couldn't miss this. I just couldn't miss this. It's like going to mass on a Sunday. Great to see you guys. Yes, I did bring a question. You can address it after, Antonio. But for the benefit of those who are on this call and who are considering your upcoming masterclass, I'm even reconsidering it, especially now that there's a potential rebate. I'm just kidding. To me, and it remains this, and I just want to bring another point very quickly. It remains one of the soundest bass that I've seen, and there's a lot of it online, to kind of also, as a PM, decide. First of all, I think it makes you assess, where am I weak, where am I strong? Because yes, as the other person said, we're bombarded with information. So how much of this have you dug into the last 12, 13, 15 months? So I think for me, it's a very sound base. And case in point, as you see now, even though we don't do it often enough, I think, but the building of that community to me is key. Also because it's worldly. So you have a broad vision of what's happening around the world. And we will need that. I mean, for those, the other ones who are online, I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But what is happening in Europe, because of our closeness to the US, we need to be aware of that. So I think this community also serves that purpose. So glad to be with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And this was completely unplanned. So thank you.
And they're not paying me either.
Very good to see you. Antonio, thank you very much, Sylvie. Antonio, you can answer some questions.
Thank you, and
I will unmute myself.
Thank you. And if anybody's around there in Canada, just reach out to Sylvie. She's doing massive work on AI and many other things, very interesting. So you can see Sylvie Leduc. It's a great ambassador and somebody that knows and follows very much what's going on in this space. So the question of Sylvie, I've not read it, so I'm sure it's a difficult one. She's very challenging always. On this AI Titanic wave, what percentage of this hype would you say has been and continues to be created by capital markets investors? Wow, that's a very good question versus realistic. So what percentage is hype and is the new big thing and is where the money is going and the trillions of billions of and bubbles, another big bubble, how much is reality? I don't know what's the percentage. Definitely there's a big bubble on AI. You see the biggest stock now is NVIDIA that has grown in weeks or months, like in Facebook or Meta or so there's definitely a big bubble, but I do see different in this bubble that there is tangible results. Now you hear every day of AI being used on schools, AI being used on hospitals. So there is truly a tool there, a new technology that's helping massively in very many spaces. So I don't know the percentage. Definitely there's a bubble there. But the reality is that AI is there and it's accelerating and it's being used, and we need to learn how to use it in projects. to deliver more successful. Ricardo, maybe you want to comment on.
You know, I want to add, Sylvie, great. Let me just give you, I work a lot with startups and this man. What do people do on the hype? It's because people are trying to get the attention to receive the funds and this. And if they get the attention, and this is the problem, you bet on 1,000 players. And then 995 of them will not succeed. But those who will succeed, those 5, will become the trillion-dollar companies. And these are the problems that we don't know exactly which they are. When Amazon started, nobody thought that Amazon would become Amazon. Apple in the 90s was a failure. Right, it was close to bankruptcy, and look, now it's a $3 trillion company, and everybody knows that something big will happen with AI. We still do not know, and everybody's trying to figure out, okay, who will be the leading horse on this race? We see OpenAI, but now last week some people asked me about Claude, and Claude backed OpenAI in the quality, the latest release of Claude. So there is a big fight of very big players taking place that we still do not know exactly who will dominate. For example, this is something I'm working for my next newsletter, but Apple just killed their project on electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles to put all the money into AI. So imagine what may come. And we are talking about, I would say, probably another 25 billion US dollars just with one company. So this is the race we are seeing now. And what we need to do as normal human beings, we just need to be ready to adapt and ready to capture, okay, is the world moving this way? How do I quickly adapt? It's impossible for you to say, I want the world to be in a different way, because we alone, we cannot change that path. AI is here, like it or don't like it. You know, it's just something that will be part of our lives. Antonio, maybe you can take the next one.
So the next one, I see more and more questions. Anonymous, how do you see the safety of documents being shared on public? I don't see any safety on the documents, so I would definitely never share anything that comes from your company, which has even one confidential number. No, I think we're not there. We don't know what's happening with the data. Ricardo mentioned the challenge with IP, so definitely never use. I think what I've seen is companies are developed their own GPTs. So some of the companies I work, big ones, they have developed their GPTs, and these are for internal purposes. There, I think there will be some limitations, but I think you're playing in a safer space. But ChatGPT, Butter, and Perplexity, and I would never use. And there's a few websites that you can get data from, so you can get lots of data sets if you want to do analysis on numbers.
Yeah.
Kellogg, no? Or
Kaggle. Kaggle.
Yeah, Kellogg.
And one thing, let me just add to you. What I do in practical terms, many times that I want to work and get some data, I just change all the data and I make an analogy. So I change names, I change numbers, I change the proportion just to have an idea of what they will answer. But I'm not sharing something confidential. So let's suppose you're building a hospital, you say, I'm building a school. Of course, it's not the best, but at least you can get some insights that are similar. So you just do an analogy with a different project, but has some of the same behavior. So you are not sharing the confidential information. This is what I'm trying to get some insights, because today I use PMOto, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and this to get insights and not to get my job done. As I said this a billion times before, it's always this. So we are here, and this is the ready one. So between 0 and 5, it's you preparing the prompt. At the end, between 80 and 100%, it's you again. ChatGPT is trying to push hard to get a better answer for you, but it will not be 100%. If you take a number from a text from ChatGPT, copy and paste, it will not be a smart idea. Okay, it will not. Maybe in the future, but not today. Mark, already we can distinguish between human and AI outputs. Will AI lead to the end of proprietary data? There is a chance. There is a chance. I don't know. After all the lawsuits are over, will all data be available to all? We don't know. For example, today, what is the problem? We are talking a lot about synthetic data. So what is happening? You populate, for example, let's suppose a company, a large company, Volkswagen, they populate with their real data, and they can use generative AI to generate projects that have similar behavior to create synthetic data. And at the end, there is a risk that 99% of all data will be synthetic, means it's not real data. It's not real. For example, some research companies are doing that. For example, instead of interviewing people, they interview people and they build a database where generative AI will answer who will be the next president, who will be the next car, etc. It's very scary, but this is already starting to happen. So at the end, we will not know. There is one thing that is important, that most of the courts worldwide, they already declared that there is no IP protection in anything that is created by generative AI. For example, if you do a nice prompt and create a super gorgeous painting, you cannot own that painting, okay? This is already a decision in most of the courts that you, for example, if you generate a lyrics for a music using generative AI, you cannot register. The problem is to prove, okay, what is generative AI and what is not generative AI, okay? Antonio, maybe you can take the next one.
Yeah, there was a question, Anonymous, just before. It's about the EU release and AI Act, so the EU AI regulation. I'm not an expert on that, so one of our goals is to bring an expert on what will this new EU AI regulation to our masterclass, so that we can learn what are the implications. It's still very early stages. You know, it happened with the GDPR, which is the privacy, and has often some impact in companies, and this one will too. But I'm not an expert, but we'll try to get an expert into a masterclass in a couple of weeks to explain and have a discussion on that. So yeah, couldn't get that one. There's a question on the chat from Marie McDonald. Thank you, Marie. For someone at the beginning of using AI in PM world, what are the tools they should focus on learning? I think, Marie, for me, the one that will be great is the PMO Auto, the GPT, which has content from Ricardo and myself. You can use, of course, Chat GPT. It goes beyond project management, but I think that's the easy ones, the prompting, the challenging. It's something that we also practice in the masterclass. Ricardo makes some really, really amazing demos. So I would go for those which are easy to access and doesn't require much training.
If I have one to suggest to you, is ChatGPT for obvious reasons, but don't use it in I would say less smart way. Take a nice report. I'm not saying your actual report, but take a nice report and insert there. Okay. For example, Misha said Gemini. It can be Gemini. I'm saying ChatGPT just because it's the most popular, but do that. Ask questions. Take a report. Prepare a report. Anyone, and take for example, another day I was analyzing a balance sheet of a public traded company using ChatGPT. I uploaded the balance sheet and I start asking questions. How is the liquidity of this company? And the answers were nice, okay? We're quite nice. Just to give you, so would be my idea. And be curious, okay?
Yeah.
Be curious, okay? To test things.
German.
Oh, okay. You take German and I take
German,
Mark.
thank you for the question. Was there already an AI-driven project executed? Not really end-to-end German. So there are pieces in the life cycle of a project that can use AI. I just show you a bit of AI predictors. So for choosing the best, the most kind of best foundation of a project. There are two tools that we invite often to a masterclass. One is called Scope Master, that we've seen working in the companies are using Scope Master. We use AI and for scoping, which is a big part of our job, especially for agile projects, this tool. And then there's Ofolio. Ofolio is a tool developed by a French student of mine. And this tool is being used by big companies who create factories or plants, or then they can do a plan in 5 minutes instead of 5 months. So there are pieces, there are technologies in some steps of our life cycle, but there's no end-to-end solution. This is something that might come later, and there's a business opportunity there to build that tool that will get a folio, will Scope Smarter, do the predictor, do the chat GPT, and put it all together. So there is a big opportunity.
But I have one tool that is not any project, but it's for websites called Dora, D-O-R-A. And this I got access yesterday because I was on the waiting list. And it's incredible. You type the prompt with your objective, and it creates for you the full website. The full website. Everything on the website using generative created images and everything in something like 20 seconds. It's like a chat GPT prompt, but it creates the full website for you on that. It's called Dora. So I believe that for simple projects, there may happen a solution like this one that could do like at your fingerprints. Probably it will start, this is just my feeling, it will start with IT projects like development, okay? This is just my personal opinion. Of course, building a mall or building a hospital will not be that easy, because then you need to connect with robots, machines. It will be more complex than just a piece of code. This is just okay. You could say create a project, a website with a Dora tool. Absolutely. Oh yeah, good idea, Raven. I didn't have time to do that, but I will do. I will try. Okay, I will try to create a project website. So did you see how things evolve? So I think this will be our last question. Okay, as we do always, we'll try to record the questions, the answers to you, and publish later. But the last one. It's from Mark, and it's a very provocative question. Is project management one of the functions in the world that is better done by AI, perhaps with some minimal human input? What's the role in human imagination in project management? Yes, I think that many tasks that we thought were project management tasks will be taken by AI. For example, reporting, meeting notes, basic scheduling, resource leveling. I would say this kind of, even, for example, programming your Kanban board, and these will be taken. Of course, as you increase creativity, as you increase the complexity of reasoning, then you require more AI capability. And this is why we are talking now about AGI, that everybody's talking recently, artificial general intelligence. It's a level of AI that mimics human in all aspects. We have tools today that can mimic humans in pieces of that, but not in everything. AGI, if we reach that, Denmark, we are changing the game. Then we need to do another webinar here and try to see. It's like quantum computing. When quantum computers comes into place, really, then we need to say, okay, how things will be. Probably we'll have another wave of massive revolution on that. Okay? Antonio, my friend, we are moving. I just want to put here the code 1 year later. As I said, we did an informal today. So up to Sunday at the end of the day Pacific time, okay? So we still have some spots, but they are filling very fast. And people ask, we may do another one. Yes, we have a plan to do potential. We are deciding on a case by case because Antonio is busy, I'm busy, and to prepare this takes a massive amount of time, okay? My friend Antonio, wonderful seeing you. You look younger. 2024 has been good
AI.
for you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us, okay? And for those attending the Masterclass, see you on the Masterclass. And I wish, look, for the women's, happy International Women's Days, okay? And for me, it's a very special. I have 2 daughters and my wife in my life. So for you, all the women, you are just the most precious assets on this planet, okay? Thank you very much, Antonio.
Thank you. Thank you so much to thank you. Lots of friends also in the call. So sorry we couldn't answer all the calls, the questions. We'll try to make a small recording and put it in LinkedIn or somewhere. But thank you, Ricardo. Always a pleasure. It's inspirational. This type of discussions is the discussions we need to have more often. So looking forward to see you in 2 weeks with new material and new ideas and new tools. And to everyone, hope to see you in there or in the next webinar. Please keep in touch and keep sharing whatever you see that is disruptive and interesting in our profession. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you.
Bye, friend. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you all.